Hello, this is David, and in this video I'm going to be conducting a debrief on all of my race times at the Swim England Masters National Short Course Swimming Championships 2024, which occurred last weekend. For those of you that have been following my channel will know that the weekend before the competition I posted a video sharing my aspirations for the competition, and the reason as to why I did that was because when it came to doing this video reflecting back on my race times and race executions, I wouldn't be lying to myself as to what my aspirations going into the competitions were, so that I could edit them in my head slightly, so that if the times weren't quite as good as I wanted them to be, I wouldn't be lying to myself. I can hold myself accountable, tell the truth, and ultimately come away with good knowledge as to how effective my training for Masters Nationals has been this year. So in this video, as I say, I'm going to go through the race times, compare them to my aspirations, and just see how I got on and comment on how effective my training has been this year. So if you give this video a like, I'd very much appreciate it. Follow and subscribe for more swimming content, and for help to swim faster on limited training time, head on over to westcough.com. But otherwise, without any further ado, let's dive right in to today's video. So my first race was the 50 meters butterfly, where I came in with a time of 31.22 seconds, 0.65 seconds off of my personal best that I set at this competition last year. And therefore, I didn't do anywhere near as well as I wanted to in the 50 meters fly. However, I was relatively cognizant of the fact that that was probably going to be the case. My fly swimming this year, for whatever reason, just hasn't been as good as it was last season. I think primarily that's because I haven't training 50 fly as much. I've been concentrating more on freestyle, and as a result, I was just over half a second off where I wanted to come. But as I say, I knew that that was going to be a possibility, where in order to personal best, which was my aspiration, then it was probably going to take something short of a miracle, because when I did set that personal best, things just went perfectly in that race, especially with regards to how I spotted the wall at both the 25 and 50 meter mark, where last year things I pretty much nailed on perfectly, and this year I didn't get things right at the 25. My finish was nice and spot on. However, at the 25 I had to take an extra stroke, which just lost me probably that 0.5 seconds, if not more. So a little bit disappointed with the swim. However, as I say, because I haven't been training fly as much, I think that that can be somewhat expected. So as I say, a little bit disappointed on the fly, knew that was coming, and because I hadn't been training fly so much this year, perhaps that stretch target of going under 30 seconds was, yeah, a little bit too far. However, I felt as though I was being reasonably honest with myself. I was pretty sure I wasn't going to go under 30 seconds, and here I was just looking for a personal best. But even that transpired that, yeah, I needed a perfect race day in order to achieve that. So 50 fly, I think I was relatively honest with myself going into the competition. And yeah, I was semi on point with how I was. Think I could have gone faster, but at the same time it could have also gone a little bit worse as well, where in comparison to a month before the competition, where I went a 31.75, I think. So I've gone half a second quicker than a month ago, where I just had an absolutely disastrous 50 fly swim. So happy to have improved on that, but again, still a little bit unhappy. It's not where I want my 50 fly to be. So next up was the 100 meters freestyle, where I came in with a time of 101.75. A little bit disappointed with this race, to be sure, because it was a whole half a second off my personal best of 101.26, and the long course converted time that I was aiming for of a 101 flat. I was really sure that I was capable of going a personal best in this race, and therefore I'm a little bit disappointed not to have done so. Again, maybe the goal of going under 60 seconds was a little bit beyond me. I knew that it would have had to have been an absolutely perfect race for me to have achieved that. Alas, it wasn't the case, and in fact, the race didn't go anywhere near as well as I wanted it to. Perhaps because I picked on a little bit of disappointment and got my head down following the 50 meters fly earlier that day. But yeah, just disappointed with that 100 free, because I thought that a PB was easily within the realms of achievability. My 100 freestyle has been going from strength to strength this year, and therefore I thought that that momentum would continue. Having said that though, it is my personal best time in a short course setting and a long course setting at Ponds Forge. So I don't know where I've set personal bests elsewhere. It's just because the pools are better than Ponds Forge, or at least faster than Ponds Forge. So a little bit of doubt is now starting to enter my head as to how quick a pool Ponds Forge actually is. So a little happy somewhat to have come away with a Ponds Forge personal best. But yeah, I thought that that time could come down even further. Reason for the badness was I just went out far too fast and had no energy down the final stretch, so a little bit disappointed on that. Need to work on my 100 freestyle fitness. So yeah, a little bit of disappointing swim, and I wasn't quite, my predictions were relatively far off with how that race would go. So my third race was the 200 meters freestyle, where I came in with a personal best time of 2 minutes 17.51 seconds, nearly taking a whole second off of my personal best. And I went into that race thinking that if I was going to personal best on any one of these races, this was the one that it was going to occur on, and right I was. I feel as though had I executed the race perfectly, I was capable of a 2:15. However, again, went out a little bit too quickly, but on a 200 I'm expecting that a little bit more, because I don't practice the 200 meters freestyle all that often, and therefore essentially I just get better at pacing myself with each and every race, where I take a little bit of learning from each race. And because I don't race it all that often, it means that progress in it comes awfully slowly. So maybe 2:15 was a little bit far off on the basis of how much I actually race it and how much experience I have of actually pacing said event. However, I was pretty on point knowing that I was going to get a personal best, and to get a full second off of that personal best is just incredibly delectable. Super happy with how that race went, and again, I've taken on more lessons learned with regards to pacing, so that in the future I can take even more time off it. Really need to slow my pace down on the first 100, control the race, and enable myself to have enough energy to finish strong on the second 100. So my final race was the 50 meters freestyle, where I came in with a personal best time of 27.95 seconds, 0.35 seconds off of my 50 meters freestyle personal best. Absolutely massive for that event. I know 0.35 seconds doesn't sound like an awful lot, but over what is a 28-second race for me, that is pretty significant. So absolutely thrilled with how that race went. And looking at the dive, because of my incredibly slow reaction time, I maybe could have gotten an extra 0.2, 0.3 off of that personal best on top of that. So really happy with the personal best, but again, you know, just like there could have been even more time off of that still. So again, I felt as though I was reasonably on point with this. I knew that a personal best was probably going to be on the cards because of how well I raced a month prior to the competition at the Sheffield Teaspoon meet, where I went to personal best by 0.01 seconds, and because that was a bit of a warm-up gala, I sort of felt that there was more within me. So I was sort of expecting a even lower 28 point, so to have gone under 20 second, to have gone a 27 point, I am super thrilled to have done that and have beaten that psychological barrier finally. Based on my long course converted time, I knew that there was a possibility of me going a 27.6, perhaps a 27.5, and with that additional 0.3 seconds off with a poor reaction time, that might have been the case. I do think that that is achievable. However, it wasn't meant to be in that race, but nonetheless, I think I was pretty on point. 27.6, the race would have had to have gone extremely well. And it didn't go absolutely amazingly because of that reaction time, but with the exception of that, the race was pretty on point. So super happy with that. And again, my predictions there were pretty well on. So with 2 personal bests from 4 individual races, overall, it was a successful Masters Nationals competition for me. Really chuffed with that. One aspect of disappointment was that there was no PB in the 100 meters freestyle, because that is the one that I really wanted to get. However, it seems to be when I really want a personal best in the 100 meters freestyle, it always seems to elude me. And it was the one event where my prediction was quite far off in comparison to the others. I was relatively on point with the 50 fly, the 200 free and the 50 free. So yeah, in my head, I sort of knew where I was at and came up with decent aspirations for that. However, with the 100 free, I was quite far off where I was going to be, because I thought I was definitely on for a short course personal best in that race at the very least, and I was actually 0.5 seconds above my personal best, which was a bit disappointing. However, I do think that's because I raced it badly and not because of my overall potential. I was getting tired on the Friday evening. I didn't sleep all that well the night before, and my head had dropped somewhat after the disappointing 50 meters fly race. So I think those all contributed to that. And because I was just so desperate to get a good result in the 100 freestyle, I just went out far too quickly and yeah, choked essentially on that race. So again, I don't think my actual prediction was too far off what I'm capable of. It's more the fact that I just executed the race poorly on the day. So all in all, I think my predictions were pretty spot on. Obviously in the 100 free it was a bit off, but yeah, with all the others they were there or thereabouts. So really happy with that, happy with my training this year, happy with my times, and looking forward to seeing what I'm going to achieve at South Yorkshire Masters, where with the 100 meters freestyle it's an opportunity for redemption, which is happening in 1 week's time. So very looking forward to that event. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. I've been David Westcough, and I'll see you again next time.
For more swimming content, subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Go from fitness swimmer to confident competitor by taking part in my Master Swimming Bootcamp at westcough.com/bootcamp, or watch another of my videos.